seen Paige. Today she's going to talk about 2022 and the year of exercise. Paige has been with us since 2019, and prior to that, she had a career mainly as a fitness professional teaching group exercise classes. She's worked with private clientele and managing fitness programs. She has a master's in kinesiology and is also a licensed therapeutic recreation technician. She holds a variety of professional fitness certifications as well. She loves working with older adults because fitness is a path to increase quality of life and a way to maintain independence. And outside of work, Paige enjoys spending time with her husband and their two dogs, creating art, and of course, exercising. So we're going to turn the time over to Paige.
Thanks, Marianne. I appreciate it. And I can really pack them in on the topic of exercise. It's amazing. Thank you all for being here today. And I think with a smaller crowd, we have an opportunity to get a little bit more of a conversation going. So, during this presentation, if you have questions, you have comments, even if they're comments like, hey, that doesn't work for me, let's get some sort of dialogue going. Maybe we can, help each other out, make it a little bit more of a discussion here. So, I'm going to share my screen real quick here. And, there we go. All right, there we go. So, as Marianne said, today's topic is 2022, the year of exercise. And I'm going to be talking about how to successfully add or maintain your exercise routine throughout the new year. And it's funny, I have another thing coming up in my job where I need to listen to a video about behavior change. And so I've been listening to that. And it seems to be quite a topic of us being able to change our behaviors, how we change our behaviors. My take on it might be a little bit different than others that you've heard, and that's good, right? Changing behavior it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. So if you've struggled with it, you're not alone. And I think, especially talking about exercise, I think that people really struggle with exercise for a variety of reasons. Some people just don't want to exercise. It's just simple enough. It's just not of interest to them. Other people have time issues. They have maybe physical issues that keep them from doing it. A lot of times it's just mental issues. And when I say that, I mean that in their mind they have formed what exercise is supposed to look like. They know they're not going to be able to achieve that, so therefore they don't do it. And so today the discussion is going to be about how we can change how we feel about exercise, how we can make sure that we, if we want to, incorporate it into our lives. So just a quick kind of going over what we're going to look at today. And I know these aren't going to make a lot of sense right now, but I've called this the exercise effect. And we're going to go over the why of exercise. Why are you exercising? What value do you find in it? And we're going to go over all these in-depthly. The next one is turtle, or the turtle goal. And that means slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. And a lot of people don't like that about exercise. They don't want to do that. But we're going to talk about why the turtle approach is really a better way, or more a way that some of us can be more successful. Practice. Practice isn't perfect. It just isn't. That's why we practice, right? Because we're not perfect at something, and we're never going to be perfect at something. But we practice something so that we can decide, is this working? Is it not working? And with that, we are going to review our results. Theoretically on a monthly basis would be nice, right? Something where we are able to be honest with ourselves. Is this working? Is it not working? What is working? I want to keep that. What isn't working? I'm going to get rid of that. No exercise, goal setting webinar would be complete without the topic of nutrition, because you are what you eat, and you're not always what you exercise. I hate to say that nutrition is more important than exercise because they really are very, very similar. But the reality is nutrition sets the foundation. So we're going to talk about that. And then we repeat it because, again, it's not perfect. We go through this cycle many, many times, maybe many, many times in a year, and maybe only once a year. That's very personal, how you're going to approach that. So let's talk about the first thing, which is finding value. You know, why are you wanting to be healthy? And you need to make it personal. It can be because someone has told you, but it is way better when it's something that you actually care about. When your doctor tells you, hey, you need to get healthy, you know, your blood pressure's high, your cholesterol is high, you're, you know, knocking on the door of type 2 diabetes. Sometimes that is a hollow reason. There's nothing in you that makes you want to strive for keeping this goal. So you really need to make it personal. And when it's personal, there's no judgment on that. Whatever your personal value is for exercise, great, keep that, right? It's a good thing. And you don't even have to tell anybody, but you need to make it personal. I don't love incorporating exercise into your life simply because you want to lose weight. If you want to get healthy and finding a weight that works for you and that's healthier for you, and if that happens to be reducing your body fat, great. But simply to want to make the numbers on your scale go down, if that's the reason, call me. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can find another reason that's a little bit more health focused. If you want to look a certain way, that's, you know, great. But again, as long as it's for you and not for somebody else. Your kids telling you need to get healthy isn't gonna, it just doesn't work. Exercise has always been something for me that's very personal. It makes me feel better. It is my antidepressant. It is my emotional calmer. It clears my head. It also makes me feel strong. And as a smaller female, I like to feel strong. I like to feel like I can lift that. I don't need someone to help me. I can move that. I don't need someone to help me. It's nice when I do have somebody to help me, but I like to be able to do things on my own. So find that thing for yourself. And I have a video for us to watch. And let's see if somebody in the chat or Marianne or somebody can just give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear this. I'm going to go ahead and start it. I did optimize. So let's see. All right. So many of you may have seen that video. It's one that I guess I saw sometime last year, and I just love it because it's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, finding something that you find valuable, and then incorporating exercise into your life so that you can reach that goal. And I love the kettlebell lifting and reaching. When I was watching the video, I was like, well, that's an odd exercise and that's interesting. And then you see why, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is great, you know? So anyway, that is what I'm talking about. Make sure that it's something that's near and dear to your heart, something that matters to you. Even if it's just, you know, I want to be able to get on the floor to play with my kids. I want to be able to walk my dog, whatever, right? And if you're interested or if you want to put goals in the chat, you absolutely can. I don't know that I'll be able to see them, but we can always talk about them at the end as well. Next, we're going to talk about SMART goals. Now, we've all heard about SMART goals, right? I mean, most of us have heard about SMART goals. I've heard about them for a long time. They never really made sense to me. It's a big part of my background as being a personal trainer and a group exercise instructor, right? If I have a client, I want to make sure that I'm setting goals that follow the SMART goal acronym. And that means that they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And I agree. I mean, I think SMART goals are great. I think they're super smart. They're smart. They're smart to utilize. I think you have to have a goal that you value to make a SMART goal work, right? So when it says specific, that's when I think the specific is, I want to be able to walk a mile, but why do you want to be able to walk a mile? Because someone told you that's good for you, or because you want to do a fun walk or a fun run with your kid or granddaughter or best friend or whatever it may be. You know, why do you want to be able to do this thing? And measurable. So, you know, make it specific. I want to be able to move my body for 5 minutes in a row, right? I can measure that with the clock, 5 minutes. Obtainable. And we're going to talk about the attainable thing. Many of us, the biggest mistake we make is we set unrealistic goals. And we don't really even think about what we're setting. We're just like, I'm going to exercise 30 minutes a day. And that's not enough. That is a great goal, but it has no foundation to it. So it's really not attainable because we haven't really thought about it. And make sure that it is attainable for us. Relevant, again, kind of circles back to that value. Why are you doing this? How does it help you in your life? And time-based. So we're not looking for what you're going to be doing in 2023. We're looking for really right now where you're going to be in April. Right? It doesn't need to be way far out. It can be next week. You could set a new SMART goal every Monday. Right? And we're going to go over that. But make it a time-based thing so that when you review it, you can say, hey, did I reach this goal? If I did, great. What's my next goal? And if I didn't, that's okay. How can I change it so that I can reach it? All right? It's never, oh, I failed, I'm going to give up. So the tortoise goal. The tortoise goal is slow and steady wins the race. That means don't bite off more than you can chew. All or nothing people, I'm talking to you, right? If you're like, well, I know I can't exercise 30 minutes a day, so I'm not going to exercise any. That is not the mentality that we need for getting movement and exercise into our life. Plus, it's not true. If you exercise a minute, that's a minute more than what you were doing before, and it does make a difference. It will make a difference in your life. So here I've set up kind of an idea, an example of how we might do a tortoise goal, right? And my goal is I want to work a 4-week in the next 4 weeks, I want to work up to 10 minutes of sustained movement. Now, you notice I haven't put exercise anywhere in there, right? Sustained movement. That means I want to move my body without stopping. I didn't say a speed. I didn't specify an activity. I just said I have 4 weeks to work up to 10 minutes of sustained movement. Some might say that's not specific enough. For someone who's just starting out, that might be as specific as we can get. All right. So week 1, I've said, 1 minute of movement on Monday. That might be just marching in place. It might be walking up and down my hall. It might be doing single arm jumping jacks. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do to incorporate 1 minute of movement. It can be sit to stands. Doesn't matter. Tuesday, 2 minutes. Wednesday, 3 minutes. 4 minutes on Thursday. 5 minutes on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Right? So in that first week, you have worked up to 5 minutes, which is awesome, right? It's great. Week 2, we're kind of doing the same thing. 5 on Monday, 6 on Wednesday, 7 on Friday, and then you get a day off on Sunday. Wait, where am I? Sorry. 5 on Monday, 6 on Tuesday and Wednesday, 7 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then you get your first day off. Right? 2 weeks in, we get to take a Sunday where you don't even have to worry about how many minutes have I done. And the reason I didn't put a day off until the end of week 2 is to try to get you into some sort of a habit, right? So maybe on that Sunday, you're like, I could do 2 minutes of movement. I don't have to take it completely off. Maybe not. Maybe you take it off and you sit around. That's great. Week 3, again, all I'm doing is going up very incrementally. 7 minutes on Monday, 8 on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, 9 on Friday and Saturday, and once again, I have a day off on Sunday. And then week 4, on week 3, I already worked up to 9 minutes on Saturday. So that week 4 is when I start to delve into the 10 minutes. Can I do 10 minutes? If not, maybe I do 9 minutes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe I do 9.5 on Thursday, Friday. So you can kind of see it doesn't have to be this super flashy, typical fitness goal that you might see in magazines or that your trainer might tell you that you need to do. Your goal can be, I want to move for 10 minutes sustained over the next month. And by the middle of February, you could be doing that. And I think that's great. And then from there, we'll take the next steps and look at that goal and see if it's something that we want to keep, what worked, what didn't, did we reach it, all of those kind of things. So that's the tortoise goal, right? Don't put the pressure on yourself to change huge. We are all big freighters in the middle of the ocean, and we got to turn. And that's not going to be quick. If you've ever seen one of those big old boats in the middle of the ocean, they don't turn on a dime. It takes them a long time to turn. And I think humans are like that. I think human nature in general is like that, especially with something that we might be a little bit hesitant to do in the first place. So the next step is practice isn't perfect. And I found this super cool little saying here that says, if at first you don't succeed, congratulations, welcome to life. It has some hard times, but okay, but also mostly okay. If you don't succeed, so what? Right? You're not the first person to not succeed at something. That doesn't mean you have to give up. That's what practice is about, is to get better, not to become perfect. So we want to continue to incorporate movement or exercise into our lives. And we need to remember that not all workouts have to be hard. We don't have to go at 100% all the time. That's a great way to burn out. And not all exercises are great. There's this horrible rumor going around that exercise should be fun. No, if it is, great. I think you're doing really good if you feel any sort of satisfaction after your workout. At the very least, like, okay, I did that. Thank goodness it's over. I don't have to think about it for another 24 hours. That was brutal. I hated every minute of it, but I did it and I feel good about that, right? So it's great if you do something you like. Obviously, that is a big goal, but if you don't, you still can move your body. And again, my second bullet point there is Usually people feel better after their exercise, if for no other reason they did it. But a lot of times you do actually physically and emotionally feel better after your exercise. And it's counterintuitive, I think, for a lot of people to think that they have to go through something that's unpleasant to feel better. But a lot of things that make us feel good in life are challenging, and exercise is no different than that. All right, so we practice, right? We practice. We do 1 minute of exercise. The next day we practice it again. We do another minute of exercise. Maybe we try something different. Maybe we don't. Maybe on Monday we felt pretty good. Maybe by Thursday we don't feel so great. That, part of the deal. Then we want to review it, right? What's working? And I would say at least set this on a monthly basis. So 12 times in 2022. Yeah, we can still work that in. You're going to sit down and go, okay, what was my goal at the beginning of the month or whenever? And how have I done with that goal? And not have I failed and have I succeeded, but what worked about it and what didn't work about it. I wanted to add 10 minutes of movement and I only added 8. Hey, I'm doing 8 more than I was. I'm going to go ahead and continue that goal for the next month. I'm going to add those 2 minutes. And I'm going to, I really didn't like those sit to stands. They ended up hurting my knees. So I'm going to only do those once a week. I don't know. You know what I mean? Look at it and change it. Change it so that it's something that you can do or that you want to do. Taking out those things that are kind of roadblocks. But we need to review it. We need to value it enough to put it on our calendars and say, hey, is this something that is working or not working? You might get to a point where you're like, 10 minutes. 10 minutes wasn't enough. I need to add more, right? Maybe you find that you are gaining some momentum so you can get a little bit more aggressive with your goal setting. And then guess what? Something's going to happen in your life and you're going to have to back off. And I do talk about this later, but we can't be going 100% all the time. That's, again, where burnout comes from. Emotional burnout, physical burnout. And exercise definitely has an emotional component to it. So if you're always pushing yourself, you're going to get burnout on it. And I've experienced that, and I love exercise. Now, not always the during, but I definitely love the effects of it. All right, and so next, we got no exercise routine is complete, again, without looking at what you're eating. And when you're looking at what you're eating and changing what you're eating, remember that you apply the tortoise goals to your eating changes as well. You can't, you can, some people can, but usually we find that we swap one habit for another habit when we go cold turkey, so to speak. So if you're wanting to how about increase the amount of water that you're drinking? I wouldn't say to make the goal of, okay, I drink a glass of water in the morning, I drink a little bit with my medication, and I drink a little bit before I go to bed, and then say, by the end of this month, I want to drink 3 of these during the day. You might find yourself not reaching that goal because that's a hair goal, meaning it's a fast goal. Instead, you might say, okay, I'm drinking those 3 times during the day. I'm going to add a 4th. All I'm going to do is add a 4th over the next week, the next month. I'm going to add 1 more glass of water to my day, and that's it. And some people are like, well, that's not enough. Well, what you're doing isn't enough, and that's more than what you're doing. So it's way closer to enough than what you're doing now. So that's, again, that tortoise goal. Change it slowly, and it's more likely to stick. Healthy diet, I think some of the main aspects of the healthy diet is decreasing your processed foods, decreasing sugar consumption, increasing hydration. Those are 3 right there off the top of my head that I could think of that are great ways to change what you're eating. And then after that, you can get specific. I want to increase my protein. And that's especially important for older adults. It's important for everybody. Across the board, people aren't getting enough protein. We need more protein. It's super important. And I'll do more webinars about this. But again, I wouldn't do an all or nothing goal where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to have 35 grams of protein every time I eat, because that's just not going to happen, right? But you do need to look at your eating. A lot of the grocery stores around town have registered dietitians that work there. A registered dietitian is your best bet for learning healthy dietary goals. And setting them. But again, you can apply everything we're talking about to changing your diet, including monthly review of what's working and what isn't working. By gosh, I need that Diet Coke page. You can't convince me that I don't need it. And you know what I'd say is, okay, keep it. Let's look at something else, right? And I do understand that. So it's something that we all need to look at, though, and review. And then, hopefully through this goal, through this process, you'll feel better. You'll start participating, whatever that means to you, and you might enjoy things a little bit more. And then you're going to repeat. And I did use pictures of older adults here because that is my clientele. That is who I work with. And I tried to show a variety of different things. I mean, none of these people are running marathons, right? I'm not talking about becoming a bodybuilder. I'm not talking about competing in the Huntsman Games in St. George next year and running a 10K. I'm talking about being able to pick up your grandchild and sit on a chair and read a book and then stand up from that position and set that kid down. I'm talking about being able to walk down your stairs to your car and get in and go over to a friend's house to play cards and then stand back up. And you know what I mean? We're talking about just participating in life. So for some of us, it's more than that. For some of us, it is a different view of exercise. And that's okay. But don't feel like if your goal is, I simply want to be able to go grocery shopping, that's not worthy and valuable, and that it's not something that you shouldn't base this whole process on. You absolutely should. You have to figure out what that is, though, for you. All right? So where to start? Let's see here. Okay, just looking at the time here. So where to start? You start with your body. One of the things, there was a paper that came out not too long ago on a website that I frequent, and it talked about how exercise is viewed. And it was specific to older adults. And these were older adults. Oh, I don't know if they were community dwelling or if they were in a, like a live-in facility. But regardless, the exercise profession has complicated exercise to the point that I think people feel like they always need supervision, or it's not something that they can do on their own. And that's what this paper showed, was that these people who were asked found exercise valuable, weight training especially valuable, but didn't feel like they could do it on their own because the possibility of getting injured was too high. And the problem with that is, shame on the fitness profession for doing that, because exercise should be something that everybody should feel comfortable doing, because the reality is we do exercise all the time. If you pick up your groceries from the floor, you're doing a deadlift. If you put groceries up into the cupboard, you're doing an overhead press. If getting in and out of your car, you're doing a twist at your torso. There are so many things that we do during the day without even thinking about it, that if I asked you to do that in the gym, you'd be like, oh, no, I can't do that. Well, it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing. So where to start is just with your body, right? Move your body. You don't need any equipment for that. You don't even need to stand up. You can punch your arms. You can kick your legs. And maybe if you can get to the point where you can do some sit to stands, maybe you can incorporate standing. For those of you who are already ambulatory, maybe that is incorporating walking into your day. But you don't have to go out and buy weights. You don't have to go out and get bands. If you need extra weight, you can use household items. Remember that grocery bag that I just talked about, you lifting, that weighs 8 pounds without you realizing it? That right there can be a weight. It doesn't have to be fancy. And, buying weights is a relatively small investment. For those of us who have folks in our lives that we can ask for presents, that's a great present to ask for, right? A lot of times people want to buy people exercise equipment. But the reality is you don't need to do that. So you start with cardio, and hopefully you include weight training or resistance training into that. Look at what you do during the day. Do you lift your laundry basket off the floor? Well, again, there's a deadlift. Do you kneel down so that you can put laundry into your laundry? Like, if your washing machine is down low and you have to get down low, there's a squat. There's balance that is involved in that. If you have access to a senior center like Salt Lake County residents do that are over 60, we have awesome programs for you there. And a lot of them do address these basic movements that are involved with basic exercise. So where to start? I'm not going to complicate it. I'm going to uncomplicate it. I'm going to simplify it. Your body. Just move your body. Move your body. And if you're like, well, I can move my body, I'm pretty active, well, add some weights to it. If you don't know what to do, ask somebody. I'm a resource for you. You can ask me. You can go online. There's lots of things that you can do. All right. And then what if you fall off the wagon? What if you get sick or you have to travel? What if there's so many things, especially right now, that can get in the way of our goals? So that happens. So what now what? One of my favorite life coaches, therapists that I've spent time with, that was his motto. So what, now what? That happened to you, so what? Now what are you going to do? We're not going to spend a lot of time swimming in that pool of, oh, I failed at this. Oh, nope, get on out of that and let's figure out what we're going to do next. And really easily, you start back at the beginning. What's the value? Why do you want to exercise? Or why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to incorporate this into your life? Set those SMART goals, right? Make them attainable, meaning set those tortoise goals. And then look at them. How are they? Were they working or not working? And what can I do to make them work? And review them, practice them. And then again, you can't always be at 100%. You're not going to always feel good. Exercise doesn't always feel good. We don't always feel good. Sometimes I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to work out. There's a lot of times, actually, that I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to work out. But guess what? That really doesn't matter. How I feel when I wake up doesn't matter because I know I'm going to feel better once I exercise. But there are times when I have to listen to not getting out of bed. I don't know. But that's when you have to personalize it. Things are going to get in the way of your exercise plan. Go back to the beginning. Start back at the beginning. Your beginning is going to be much further down the road than it is when you started, right? If you start, you do a couple months of exercise, you fall off, and you go back to it, you're still going to be a couple months down the road, right? Especially if you get back on it quickly. So with that, I am done. I am going to stop sharing. Here's my contact information. I know many of you already have it. You are welcome to reach out to me, to send me an email, to ask me questions. And if I can't answer the questions or it's not appropriate for me to be answering them, I can send you to a source that might be able to help you with that. But with that, because when I'm sharing my screen, I can't see you guys. Are there any questions or comments? Is anybody